Hello everyone, for my returning guest, welcome. If you're new here, I'm Dr. K, a marriage and family therapist with over 25 years of experience in diagnosing behaviors, treating emotional patterns, and helping individuals and couples succeed both personally and professionally. This is the space where we have real, honest conversations about culture, mental health, and the messy in-between. We're not about cancel culture here. We're about context, complexity, compassion. And today we're diving into a big one. Is Kanye West a narcissist? Now, before you jump into the comments, hear me out. This isn't about dragging Kanye. It's not a diss video. It's a real talk about narcissism, mental health, genius, and how society responds when brilliance meets instability in the public eye. So if you're ready for an honest, layered, sometimes uncomfortable but always respectful convo, grab your tea, get cozy, and let's unpack this. Let's start here. What even is narcissism? Because listen, we hear this word thrown around like confetti. My ex was such a narcissist. That influencer? Total narcissist. But what does that actually mean? Clinically speaking, narcissism, especially narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, is a legitimate mental health condition. It's not just someone who loves taking selfies or flexing their success. Here's what defines NPD 1. A grandiose sense of self-importance. Preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Belief they are special and unique. A need for excessive admiration. A sense of entitlements. Interpersonally exploitative behavior. 7. Lack of empathy. Envy of others or belief that others are envious of them. Arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. Now, does that sound like Kanye to you? For some of y'all, it's a hard yes. For others, it's more complicated. So let's take a look at some of the most public Kanye moments and see what's really going on beneath the surface. Iconic Kanye moments, narcissism or something else. Let's take it back to 2009, the VMAs. Taylor Swift wins Best Female Video. She gets on stage, emotional, young, probably nervous. Then boom, Kanye storms the stage. Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'ma let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. Now look, we all remember where we were when that happened. Twitter exploded. People were shocked, confused, angry. Some were even cheering him on. So let's ask, was that narcissism? Was that a man who couldn't let someone else shine? Or was that Kanye being impulsive, passionate, speaking his truth in a moment that wasn't his? Either way, it was a Kanye moment, loud, unapologetic, public. But this wasn't a one-time thing. Kanye's had a long history of behavior that's left people either praising him as a truth teller or calling him toxic and egotistical. Remember when he said, "I am Warhol, I am Shakespeare in the flesh." Or when he called himself the greatest artist that God ever created. Or the time he compared himself to Walt Disney, Steve Jobs, Jesus, and Einstein, all in the same breath. It's bold, it's dramatic, and on the surface, it's textbook narcissism. But now, let's add some layers, because here's where it gets complex. Kanye has also been incredibly open about his mental health, something a lot of celebs don't do. He shared that he lives with bipolar disorder, a condition that brings intense mood swings, including manic episodes. And during those manic phases, people can experience things like 1. Inflated self-esteem or grandiosity. 2. Racing thoughts. 3. Increased activity or energy. 4. Risky behavior. 5. Decreased need for sleep. Sound familiar? That doesn't excuse everything, but it does explain a lot. There's even a lyric from his 2018 album that says, "I hate being bipolar. It's awesome." It's cheeky, sure, but also brutally honest. That line sums up what so many people with bipolar experience: the high and the low, the chaos and then seeing the creativity. In interviews, Kanye's described his brain as having a sprained ankle, but for your mind. He's talked about being misunderstood, misdiagnosed, mislabeled. So then, here's the question. Are we mislabeling Kanye too? Are we calling him a narcissist when he's really just a man struggling publicly with a serious mental health condition? But wait, can you be bipolar narcissistic? The short answer? Yes. Mental health isn't either or, it's both and. You can have traits of narcissism without having full-blown NPD. You can have bipolar disorder and also act selfish, harmful, or egotistical. Here's the kicker. Bipolar disorder doesn't make you hurt people. Narcissistic traits don't excuse you from accountability, but they do shape how you behave and how you see yourself in the world. So when Kanye does something wild, like announcing a presidential run out of nowhere, or ranting on social media about people in his inner circle, we can't ignore the mental health piece. But we also can't just brush it off as he's mentally ill. He can't help it. It's a balance. And honestly, it's one that society is still learning how to handle. Genius and narcissism. Why we let celebs get away with more. Here's something wild we don't talk about enough. Our culture loves narcissists. As long as they're successful, we glamorize ego. We eat up confidence. We reward people who say, "I'm the best." Think about it. We called Steve Jobs a genius. Elon Musk is hailed as a visionary. People like Jeff Bezos, Donald Trump, even Tony Stark, yes, I said what I said, they're often described with words like brilliant and bold, even when they bulldoze people along the way. Kanye's no different. He's broken barriers in music, redefined hip-hop, blended art, fashion, design, and tech in ways nobody else has. And when he's in his zone, when he's producing masterpieces like my beautiful dark twisted fantasy or dropping culture-shifting sneakers with Adidas, it's easy to look the other way. We say, well, that's just Kanye being Kanye. But that's dangerous, right? Because when we tie genius to bad behavior, we create a culture that excuses harm as long as it's wrapped in talent. Kanye and relationships, the narcissist playbook? Let's talk about how Kanye treats the people around him. We've seen a lot of very public feuds. Jay-Z, Drake, Pete Davidson, Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner. And the pattern? It's often the same. Praise them loudly. Turn on them just as loud. Air out personal drama online. Paint himself as the misunderstood victim. Now, I'm not in Kanye's head, but from the outside looking in, that sounds a lot like narcissistic behavior. In relationships, narcissists often love bomb early on, get jealous or possessive, lash out when they feel rejected, struggle with boundaries. We saw this in the aftermath of his split with Kim. The tweets, the music videos, the obsession with control over the narrative. It made a lot of people uncomfortable, and again, some said it was narcissism. Others said it was grief, mental illness, and a man spiraling. Maybe it's both. So why does this matter? Because Kanye isn't just a celebrity. He's a symbol, a mirror. He forces us to ask big questions. What do we do when our heroes fall short? How do we hold people accountable and show compassion? 3. Where's the line between genius and toxicity? Or are we too quick to diagnose people we don't understand? And here's the hardest part. Sometimes there is no clear answer, just tension, just the messy middle. We need a new conversation around mental health. Because look, Calling someone a narcissist shuts down the convo. It's a label, a full stop. But understanding what's behind the behavior, that's where healing starts. We need to talk about how trauma shapes ego, how fame distorts reality, how men, in particular, are often denied mental health support until they break down, how our culture rewards extremes and punishes vulnerability. Kanye is a complicated man living in an even more complicated world. He's hurt people, and he's been hurt. He's created beauty, and he's created chaos. Both are true. Final thoughts. So, is Kanye a narcissist? Here's my answer. He displays all the traits, but since I haven't sat down with Kanye in a clinical setting, I can't diagnose him. But we can talk about the behaviors, the impact, the patterns. We can say, that wasn't okay. That person deserved better. He clearly needs help. He's more than his worst moments. And we can hold two truths at once. Kanye West might have narcissistic traits. He might also be a visionary who's deeply unwell. He might be both. He might be neither. But he is, above all else, human. So let's talk about him like he is. Your turn. Let's keep the conversation going. What do you think? Have you seen narcissism in Kanye's behavior? Do you relate to any of what we talked about today? Do you see these patterns in others that you know? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep it respectful, honest, and open-minded. That's the vibe over here. If you got something out of this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who loves having these deep convos. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and take care of your mind. Peace.